of the greatest women's basketball players that I've ever seen, certainly in my lifetime. Rebecca Lobo is here tonight. Rebecca, you stand. Give an acknowledge. Thank you. Thank you for joining us here tonight. All right, as we get started here this evening, we've got some videos to show you of our honorees. We're going to lead off with Ron Wilson, class of '77.
I met Ron because his dad, Larry, was a coach with the Rhode Reds, and they were playing at East Providence High School, and Ron was certainly one of the best.
Every high school hockey coach in Rhode Island was trying to get them to move into their community, because if you got Ron Wilson, you got Bradley Wilson, and you got Randy Wilson, so it was a three-foot package.
My father used to build a hockey rink in the back. It looked big at the time, but when you think about it, how small it really was, and all three of us played together. Because Ron was a little bit bigger than Randy and I, he always stuck one of us in the net.
His dad had players practice with me when they were injured, so he had an understanding of what the program was all about. And Ron had the potential of being a pro someday, and I think that I had the influence of his dad in support of that, and Ron could have gone anywhere in the country.
Lou was up front, honest, and said, "I'm not going to bother you, we want you," and told him on who he was, the program he was going to try to build, the fact that Snyder Arena was being built, and it was an opportunity for Ron to help build the program.
I remember seeing him in class, and he was a little guy, and he was wiring glasses. And he scored 100 points in Rhode Island High School hockey, and I'm like, Rhode Island High School hockey, big deal. We'll see how you do against boys from Minnesota and Canada. And the very first scrimmage, it was clear who the best player on the team was, even as a freshman. Ronnie was a star right away.
He was just in a different dimension in terms of how he played the game. The thing that stands out, I remember when I first few practices, was his passing was just unbelievable.
He played like Bobby Orr, and he saw the ice like Wayne Gretzky. And playing with him was like playing with two center ice, and that's how he was changing college hockey. An offensive defenseman that could make plays.
His skill was his ability to control and command the game. Did he have the hardest shot? No. Was he the fastest skater? Absolutely not. But he could read and react to plays, he could foresee what was happening, and he knew how to utilize his teammates. My freshman year, and we were playing in Dartmouth, and I think Ron was setting the record for most points by a defenseman, and he had 8 points in one game. It could have been 10 or 12. To score 8 points in a game, on the road, in a hostile environment, that's impressive. He did that while coaches were game planning against you.
When we needed a big goal or we needed something to happen in the game, everyone knew the drill. Just get Ronnie in the pocket. Get Wilson. We all call him Wilson. Get Wilson in the pocket. Something good's going to happen. And this guy can turn games around by himself, change games by himself, win games by himself. He was the best college hockey player in his era, and I would argue, even to this day, probably the greatest college hockey defenseman that ever played.
The coach was the architect, and Ron and the Wilson brothers were really, I think, the driving force.
Brad was the center. Randy was a left winger, and Randy scored 30 goals his freshman year. And Bradley, I don't think he ever lost a faceoff.
One of them would score a goal, and it was always Wilson and Wilson and Wilson.
It's hard to explain his impact on the ACAC back in the day. Our sophomore year, he had 87 points. And we didn't play 40 games like they do now. We played 28 games, I think, that year. He had 87 points.
He was so confident in his abilities to be able to carry the play, to make plays happen. And when you score 250 points, you have to have confidence, and he did.
I think what Lou wanted to do was build a national program, and Ron was what I would call his first superstar. They put Providence on the hockey map, and we've seen what's happened here since that point.
Hello, I'm Nate Lehman with the men's ice hockey program. First, I'd like to congratulate all the inductees tonight on this tremendous honor. About 2 months into me taking the position here at Providence College, we had an alumni golf outing. And at the golf outing, I was approached by 2 or 3 people right off the bat that mentioned having this night happen for Ron Wilson. He was the best defenseman ever to play at Providence College, or maybe in all of college hockey, period. It's unfortunate that Ron can't be here tonight, but we're so happy to have this night take place on behalf of one of the best players ever to play college hockey, Ron Wilson.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Brian's head hockey coach Nate Lehman, and for Ron Wilson, his brother Brad, class of '78.
Well, of the Wilson family, I'll just start off quickly. The Wilson family, the reason I'm up here representing Ron is because I'm the shortest of the 3 of us who played here. First of all, unfortunately, due to health reasons, obviously Ron and certainly his wife Maureen couldn't attend. I know he looked forward to this for a long time, and I'm sure he's got all the well wishes from everybody that's here, and he will continue to move forward in his endeavor to be the person that we all know. Father Shanley, Athletic Director Bob Driscoll, I know he's sick. Harold Starks, Jen Cunningham, and Steve Appolillo, the Macon Fathers, Providence College Athletic family and supporters, Frank's family, obviously Ron's daughters, and if they would stand up, Kristen and Lauren. Ron's son-in-law, Jonathan, and obviously the most important 2 people that are here for him is his granddaughters, Riley and Kingsley. On behalf of the Wilson family and certainly Ron, I'm both honored and humbled to be representing Ron in such a prestigious and what I would call a long overdue honor for him. I know that Ron would first like to extend his heartfelt congratulations to Doris Burke, Otis Thorpe, the late Bruce Sue Campbell, who actually was a classmate of mine in 1978, arguably the greatest woman hockey player ever, Cammy Bernardo, and probably the most influential person in at least the Wilson family lives, Lou Lamorello, and I know Chris can pass it along to your dad, in their inductions into the Friar Legends forever. I strongly believe that Providence College hockey is where it is today because of 2 people, Ron Wilson and Lou Lamorello. Lou and Ron have always represented Providence College with attributes both passed along by the Dominican family. Be humble, be respectful, provide ethical and moral leadership, and maintain your dignity and humility. Ron came to Providence College because of Lou Lamorello. Ron was always the best player at every level on every team that he ever played on. And great athletes such as Ron earned their statue. It's not given to them. It is hard to maintain that level of competitiveness each and every game. And they both believed in what Lou always preached. You play for the name on the front of your jersey, not the one that's on the back. His statistics alone distinguish him. Ron is not only the greatest hockey flyer in PC history, although I'm biased, I would certainly argue that Ron could be one of the top 1, 2, or 3 athletes in the history of Providence College athletics. He holds NCAA records for most points ever by a defenseman, most assists in NCAA history. His 250 points at the time that he left PC was a mere 80 points greater than that number 2 at the time. And he did that as a defenseman, and number 2 was a forward. Since I'm up here, I'm going to pat myself on the back for a minute. My freshman year, I thought I had a great year when I recorded a freshman record of 57 points in 26 games playing forward, ranking number 2 behind Ron, who led the entire nation with 87 points. That's 50% more than the second person on the team. And I've never seen that at any level in pro hockey at all by a defenseman. Phenomenal statistic. I compare Ron to kind of another sport, kind of outside the box. And I've always said Ron was a thoroughbred and the rest of us were quarter horses. He was at Churchill Downs and we're at Narragansett Racetrack. We're in 2 different places. Ron was a much better person than he was a player. Now I'm going to give you an example. And it's hard for me because I was involved. In 1976, Ron had been chosen to play for the United States Olympic Hockey Team. And during the preseason playing of the Olympic team that they went around before they went over to the Olympics, Ron was again the leading scorer in the Olympic team, and Ron's current wife, his girlfriend at the time, Maureen, had not been feeling well. And Ron, as selfless as he was, decided that I'm coming home, I'll take care of her. He left the Olympic team to be with Maureen, and he helped her guide her back to health. He gave up himself for Maureen. Now, Ron is going through some tough times health-wise, and God has blessed Ron with Maureen, who now is giving back to Ron. She is his support, she is his hope for full recovery, and his guiding light. Ron's successes professionally are certainly well documented. His 1996 World Cup of Hockey triumph over Canada still ranks today as the second greatest U.S. hockey achievement outside of the miracle on ice. He coached the 2010 silver medal winning U.S. Olympic hockey team, losing to Canada in overtime. A victory snatched away when his team hit the crossbar, also in overtime. His 648 NHL coaching victories speak for themselves. And I'll leave everyone with this. The great Jerry Rice once said, "I feel like I'm the best, but you will not get me to say that." And it sounds as if Ron would have said that. So let me say it. Ron, you're the very best hockey player ever to down the front of Jersey. You're Providence College hockey. And as your brother, I'm proud. So God bless and Godspeed in your recovery.